Hello, my name is Paul Beddings. Let's talk photos. So these images were taken somewhere around 2007. I was living in Nairobi at the time with my wife, and she was working for a program that needed to capture some images of some distributions that were happening in Somalia. The big distribution that was happening was for something called NFIs, which stands for non-food items. Basically, just think about anything that's not food. So it would be like blankets, cooking pots, mosquito nets, water basins. The other thing that was happening in this area was a cholera outbreak. From what I have seen of cholera, it really is not great. It's some sort of bacterial disease that spreads through dirty and contaminated water, and people can die really quickly. So the organization had set up a cholera treatment center in the local hospital. There are no easy flights to Somalia, at least no easy flights to the area we were going. We ended up flying in a cargo flight on an old DC-3. This specific plane had a reputation, mostly because it looked like it shouldn't be flying, but also this plane and its crew were willing to fly almost anywhere. We were not flying to an international airport. We were flying to a small landing strip. It was about 2 hours from any major town center and quite a bit inland from the coast. At the time, to land on this airstrip, you had to make direct contact with a person on the ground to be sure that it was safe and nobody other than who you were expecting to be there was controlling the airport. So, interestingly enough, on this flight, our pilot could not make contact with the ground. He tried several times, but soon decided that we needed to turn around. About 5 minutes after we had turned around, we got a call from the ground saying that it was in fact okay to land. But now we were low on fuel. Because of everything we were carrying, we only had enough fuel in the tanks to get us directly to Somalia. The pilot's plan was that he would land, refuel, and then take off. And that 5 minutes of turning around and heading back to Nairobi used up some fuel that we actually needed. However, the pilot decided that he could make it if he could climb a couple thousand feet higher. So in a first for my experience in flying, the oxygen masks dropped from above me. And by dropped, I mean I reached up and grabbed them out of this small little compartment. The pilot turned on the oxygen and we had to breeze through these masks. This is a photo of me with the mask on. It's a little more basic than I think you would potentially see in a more commercial airline. I think it worked. I'm pretty sure the pilots were wearing them, so I was happy about that. But you can see that there's not much going on in this plane. Here is a shot of my wife. You can see, there's a bunch of rows of seats. You can take those in and out as needed if you have more cargo or less cargo, or more people or less people. Behind us there's that canvas sort of sheet. If you looked in the previous shot, you saw the door open. The door would be opening behind that, and that's where all the tires and the cargo was sitting. We ended up landing, and just a few things here. I know I've showed you this photo already. When you take off in the DC-3, it feels a little bit strange. So first you take off, like you sort of start on an angle, and then as the plane picks up speed, the back of the plane picks up. So you're sort of going, and then the back of the plane lifts up, and then you build up more speed, and then it takes off. And then when you're landing, same thing. It lands on the front two wheels, and then it drops down to that third wheel on the back and then taxis in. So there's a bit of a strange feeling when you're taking off and landing in this plane. Super loud in the plane, you can't hear anything. You have to yell if you want to talk. So when you land in an airport like this, it's all hands on deck. So you have to help load and unload. The pilot has paperwork to fill out. The people who are waiting for cargo come load their trucks up. And there's sort of a lot happening. We needed a visa to get into the country, but it was just a sort of a loose piece of paper we put in our passport. And when we arrived, we had to go sort of over to these trees over here. And there's a guy sitting under a tree in the shade. He took our names and our fingerprints, and that's how he recorded our arrival. Thanks for watching part 1 of my photo story from Somalia. Come back next week where I'll talk about a few more images from my day at the Cholera Treatment Center. Please like, share, and subscribe below, and we'll chat soon. Cheers.